Okay. Um, just another quick one, really, just to keep the ball rolling. Just an update on what I've been doing today, which, in all honesty, is bugger all. Actually, that's not true. I spent the day, let me see, reading about Keycloak and setting it up and configuring it and what its capabilities are, because I think that's going to be one of the central components for the system I want to set up to provide single sign-on, because Keycloak seems to be compatible with most of the technology that I want to add on around it. And it has the great advantage that it's also open source, and we like open source. So yeah, a lot of reading about that, and messing about on Reddit, looking at all of the DevOps forums and Git forums, things like that, mainly to see what kind of issues people are having. A bit more thinking about how I want to configure the development environments I'm going to be using next week. So that'll be something probably for Monday to finish off. What else have we done today, Kenny? I'm taking you for a walk, and it's been raining and generally miserable, but yeah, so that's it. Not a huge amount to report. It's been a fairly typical day of just meandering around reading stuff and not. I tell you what it is. It's 90% preparation at the moment, because I'm still forming the various ideas. I've got the rough idea of where I want to go with this, and I've got a rough idea of the technologies involved. Some of them I'm familiar with, some of them I'm very familiar with, some of them I'm coming to fairly new in terms of the actual applications I'm using, like Keycloak. The concepts are straightforward. I tell you what, one of the things I noticed on Reddit, again, we've had the thread of, which CI/CD system do you use? And we have the usual thing of the GitLab CI people versus the GitHub CI people, people dumping on Jenkins, and then you get the Argo CD people stepping in, Circle CI people stepping in. Circle CI is an interesting one because they've had problems recently, haven't they? The long and the short of it is this: if you look at most of these systems, like for example the common ones, GitLab, GitHub, Concourse is the one I personally prefer at the moment. They all basically do the same thing. Broadly speaking, you can almost map them one to one. So all this argument about which one's best is kind of pointless. Once you've learned the principles of one, transferring those skills to the others are fairly straightforward. Anything I will say is that obviously, if you're tied into GitLab or GitHub for your code repositories, then it's natural to use the CI system that's built into those systems. But you can use the others. All of these systems provide ways of using external sources and indeed external runners in a lot of cases. So a lot of arguments that people make are kind of fallacious. The other thing is that a lot of people like things like GitHub because it's got a vast array of pre-built actions. And that means you're just putting, it's like a Lego set, you're just plugging these actions together, which is a I suppose that's a good thing. The only thing I would caution is that when you're accessing these actions, is treat them like you would any other third-party supplied plugin, because that's really what they are. And treat them with suspicion. You know, without doing a very careful review of what the particular action is doing, you're in danger of having, an action that exfiltrates all your vault secrets or whatever. Because the CI/CD system is often fairly trusted. It does a lot of, it handles a lot of secrets, like, for example, access to your VM stack or your cloud stack or whatever, for your deployments. And I would be extremely careful about using external actions. And if you do use external actions, third-party supplied, community supplied actions, make sure that you're very careful about tying them down to the particular tagged version. Because what you don't want to have is it getting the latest version, because you don't know when some dodgy bit of code is going to be introduced into one of those. So you need to, if you review version 1, make sure you tag you use the tag and use only version 1. And if version 2 comes out, you'll need to re-review it. So this is these are the pros and cons of these things. So they're very convenient to be able to just grab stuff off the shelf and use them. But I can see, as the years go by, I can see that things like GitHub Actions and things, these off-the-shelf solutions, are going to suffer the same problem as things like PyPy has suffered, where, or NPM for that matter, where people get to trust them blindly and they just kind of grab whatever's there without doing a detailed review, and then you get bad actors who poison the well, and they put in packages which do things like crypto mining in the background and crap like that. And I can see that happening. I can see that happening with these actions. They're basically another attack vector. So you've got to be very careful when you set your systems up to we treat them with caution. Anyway, so that's that. That was just something. And you're never comfortable, Kenny. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to hang around because, like I said, it wasn't a particularly interesting day.